How's it going, everyone? Pop-Tart here. Welcome back to the Aeroteam channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build our Havilland Canada DHC-8 Q400 in 1.5:1 scale. The Q series is a turboprop regional airliner serving the short-range market. The series was initially known as the Havilland Canada DHC-8 from its introduction in 1984 until the program was acquired by Bombardier in 1992. In 1997, the series was modernized and rebranded as the Bombardier Q series. The Q400 model here was introduced in 2000 and is the longest of the four models, also having the most in operation by far, with around 600 total deliveries around the world. As Bombardier recently exited the commercial aviation market, the Q series was sold to Longview Aviation in 2019, and it was rebranded as the Havilland Canada DHC-8 once more. Anyways, with that slightly tangled history out of the way, as for the build itself here, as I mentioned, this is in 1.5:1 scale, meaning that every meter in real life is equivalent to 1.5 blocks exactly. This is our preferred building scale for our major aircraft series, so this will be perfectly to scale with all of our other 1.5:1 aircraft on the channel. Now, if you'd like a closer look at the Q400, a showcase video was recently put together for this aircraft, so please do check that out beforehand so you have an idea of what's going on. There should be a card up on screen for that now. Also, we had to redesign the entire aircraft here a couple months back, and we live-streamed the whole process start to finish. If you want to watch us die inside as we stumble through the broken mess that was the completely undimensioned old aircraft and lose our sanity in the process, go give that a watch as well. Now, as you can see here, I have a couple different variants set up already. This doesn't have anything to do with variations for the aircraft itself, but rather these are the takeoff and landing flaps, which were put together for the Q400 by Miles, including the deployed ground spoilers here. At the end of the video, after the aircraft is done, I'll be showing you how to make all of these optional modifications as well if you so choose. Anyways, before we get started here, there's just one last thing to mention. Now, as always, this build does make use of our very own custom Aeroteam texture pack. A download link to the newly released version 2 of this pack can be found in the description below if you don't have it already. Now, if you're stuck using the default texture pack, if you're following along on console or something, I will do my best to show you how to go about building this in default, but please do keep in mind that I highly recommend using the Aeroteam pack instead if you can, as it'll look much better. Anyways, with that all out of the way, let's get going on the tutorial. Alright, so first things first, here's some dimensions for you to help you figure out where you want to put this. The Q400 is 49 blocks long, 43 blocks across, and 13 blocks tall from the landing gear to the tip of the vertical stabilizer. So just keep that all in mind as you're getting started. Now, as for materials, here in the Aeroteam pack we're using the wool material, coupled with the purpur stairs and slabs for the smooth and shiny wool coloration for the aircraft. If you're in default without that, you'll probably want to use something like quartz as an alternative, but this is what we're using here in the Aeroteam pack. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'll be referring to these as the wool stairs and slabs, but again, that's the purpur material in the Aeroteam pack here. Anyways, with that all out of the way, let's get going on Layer 1. Alright, so for Layer 1, if you are building this landed on the ground, as I'm here, you'll be wanting to start 2 blocks off the ground here. This will leave you with a 1 block gap in between Layer 1 and the ground, like so. If you're building this in flight though, then obviously that's not something you have to worry about, and you can just start wherever you like. But again, you'll be wanting to start 2 blocks off the ground if you are building this landed. Anyways, to start off Layer 1, we're going to be starting with a wool top slab going back right here, followed by a block of wool right here, and then 2 full blocks of quartz going back for the nose gear doors. Now, if you're in default and building this out of quartz already, you'll probably want to use something like cobblestone or polished diorite to accent the doors and stuff like that out from the aircraft itself. But since we do have the option to use quartz here in the Aeroteam pack to contrast against the wool, this is a much preferable alternative in terms of color correctness. So that's what's going on here. Anyways, now that we have that, going out from either side of this last quartz block right here, or cobblestone or whatever you're using in default, we'll have a block of wool out to either side, with a upside down wool stair going forwards off from both of those right here, and a wool top slab off both of those like this. That'll kind of finish off the rounding on the underside of the nose here. That's going out to the sides here from that wool block. We're going to have a stone button out to either side, like so. This is for what I believe is the angle of attack vane on the side of the nose right here. That's going back. What we're going to have is a total of 29 blocks of wool. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29, like so. This is just going to box off to either side. You'll probably want to recount this one just for fun or just to make sure, but I'm not going to bother. So just drag this all the way across and make this a 3x29 box, like so. And there we go. So before we continue on with the rear layering to finish off that bit of the fuselage, we're going to start with putting in some details on the underside here. So we're going to hop down below, and we'll be starting right from the nose gear doors right here. Skip this first block of wool and place a stone button right there underneath that second. This should be aligned parallel to the aircraft's direction, not perpendicular like this. Next, drop a gap of 3 going back from this here. 1, 2, and 3. And on the 4th block here, we're going to have a lever, and make sure this is flipped facing backwards. This is for an antenna on the underside of the aircraft here. Next, we've got a gap of 4 blocks now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And a stone button underneath that 5th block right there, like so. Going back once more here, we have a single gap of 1 block right there, and 1 stone button right there. So again, that's a 1 block gap between. Skip another block there, lever, make sure that's flipped facing backwards once more, for yet again another antenna. And immediately afterwards, this time skipping no blocks, a single stone button right there. Next, we'll be leaving a gap of 5 blocks going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then, for our final detail right here, just a 1 last stone button right there, aligned parallel, like so. And that is all of the detailing on the underside here. So, the last thing we're going to do now is grab quartz stairs here. Now, out to the sides now, we're going to be skipping this very last exposed block of wool right there, and we'll be placing 4 quartz stairs facing out to the side right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4, like so, with a quartz top slab forwards from this. Again, that's skipping that very last exposed block of wool right there. This is for a set of straights out to either side of the underside of the fuselage here. So again, we'll be skipping this last wool block right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a quartz top slab forwards from that. That's everything for the details now, so we can finish off this bit of the fuselage. So we've got a single block of wool right there in the center, with an upside down wool stair facing backwards out to either side from that, and a 3rd wool stair right there. And back from all 3 of these now, we just have 2 wool top slabs like this. And that is everything for layer 1. Alright, so for layer 2 here, what we're going to be doing is starting right on top of this wool top slab, the very first block we placed in layer 1 here, with a single wool half slab there. Block of wool behind it, and a slab out to either side. We're already starting to taper off the nose here. The Q400's nose is very pointy. So, back from these 2 slabs now, we're going to have a total of 3 blocks going back. 1, 2, and 3, like so. 1, 2, and 3. With a wool top slab to the sides, like this. Next, grab a tripwire hook, and we'll be placing this on the 2nd block back right there, the middle block of those 3. This is for the first pitot tube on the side of the nose right here. Same thing on the other side. Now, going back from here, it is going to be a little bit asymmetrical because the Q400's door placement is, well, not symmetrical, so we'll be starting on the right side of the aircraft here. We have 2 blocks of wool going back, then a full block of quartz right there for the start of the forward cargo door. 2 blocks going back with the wool yet again, and a single quartz block there. This time that's for the forward exit door on the right-hand side. Now back from this here, we have 22 blocks of wool going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. And we'll leave it at that for now. On the left side of the aircraft, that's 2 blocks of wool going back from the slab there. Single block of quartz for the left entry door, or the forward entry door here. Then just 25 blocks of wool going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. That should line up with the other side, just like this. Now on both sides right here, what we're going to have is a quartz top slab going back from both of those wool blocks right there, with a half slab towards the center to start off the curvature for the aft doors right here. Now going back from these wool slabs right here, on the right, or quartz half slab rather, on the right side only we're going to have 4 blocks of wool going back. 1, 2, 3, and 4, with a wool top slab going back from that quartz top slab right there. On the left side, we're going to have a wool top slab going back from the quartz top slab there, then only 2 blocks of wool going back. Then, back from here, we're going to have 2 full blocks of quartz going back right here, as opposed to the wool on the right side. This will be starting off the aft cargo door right here on the rear of the fuselage, with a stone button on the first of those two exposed quartz blocks, like so. Join up these two blocks at the rear right here with a single block of wool to cover up that gap, with a second block of wool going back. Then from all three of these exposed blocks right here, we're just going to have two wool top slabs. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1 and 2. And that is everything for layer 2 of the Q400. Alright, so for layer 3 here, we're going to be starting back from this solid block of wool right there from layer 2. We'll be dropping a wool half slab back at an angle from it, like so, with a lever out to either side. Make sure it's flipped facing backwards, like so. These are for the rather long windshield wiper arms of the Q400, which stick all the way from the center of the nose in up to the windshield. So that's what that's replicating there. So now that we have that all in, it's time to start putting in the cockpit glass. So, with the Q400, the cockpit glass isn't actually on a solid block layer like this. It's in between block layers, so it'll be basically the equivalent of a top slab and a half slab on top, like this. We won't be using black glass or anything like that for the windshield here. So we'll be starting with a netherbrick top slab back from this wool half slab there, with a wool slab out to either side like so. Again, another netherbrick top slab out to either side, just like this, back from those slabs, and a wool half slab out to the sides. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So what we're going to have to do here is somehow manage to merge a netherbrick top slab in with a wool half slab, while still keep that fuselage material intact. Now, in default, or in vanilla, as you are most likely aware, you can't merge slab materials. That's not a thing. So our solution here in the Aeroteam pack is the stripped oak log. The stripped log materials are a half black wool, half colored combination, and the oak log here is a wool material like this. So this will keep the cockpit glass texture, or design here intact, while not compromising on the shaping of the fuselage. Now, if you are stuck in the default texture pack, what you might have to do is either use a full block of black wool like this, or a netherbrick top slab with a wool half slab towards the center. Now, this isn't exactly a preferable solution because it will both create an indent in the fuselage here, and also impede on the room of the interior here when we do get to that later in the tutorial. But, yeah, that's probably the best you'll be able to get. But here in the Aeroteam pack, again, that's the stripped oak log is our alternative material here, and that will keep this nice texture flowing. So, same thing on the other side here, and that is everything for the cockpit glass for this layer. So, going back now, what we're going to have is a single block of wool back from that, with a quartz full block back to finish off the forward doors here. Now on the right-hand side, yeah, it's just the right side of the aircraft here. The second block up here, we're going to have a stone button out to the side for the cargo door right here. And that's not going to happen on the left side here for the entry door. It's just going to stay blank like this. So, now that we have that on the right side, again, we have a bit of asymmetry here. So we'll be starting with 2 blocks of wool going back, not on the left side. Then a quartz stair facing forwards like this to finish off the forward exit door on the right side here, the R2 door. Then a block of wool back from this here. Then a total of 10 wool stairs facing forwards for our windows. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, like so. Next, switching directions here, and facing backwards now, this will create a gap in the windows here. We've got 2 wool stairs facing backwards, like so. Another gap right here with a block of wool, and we'll leave it at that. Now on the left side of the aircraft here, back from that quartz full block, we have a single block of wool right there. Then 13 wool stairs facing forwards going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, like so. That should line up with the window break from the right side there. Then 2 wool stairs facing backwards, and a block of wool. Now that we have those 2 gaps in place, we just have 8 wool stairs facing forwards, going back from both sides right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like so. So that's everything for the windows. Apart from both of these here, we're going to have a full block of quartz to finish off the aft doors right here, with the stone button out to either side, like so. 2 blocks of wool back from both of these right here. And then on the right side only, we'll be coming in a block layer right here and placing 5 blocks going back, like this. On the left side here, that's 2 blocks of quartz on top of the 2 blocks from the previous layer right there. That'll finish off the cargo door. Then just 3 blocks going back like this to line up with the right side. Back from both of these here, we're going to have a wool top slab. Join this up in the center with a wool block right there to close off that gap, and a second going back. Then 2 more wool top slabs, like so. Once we have that, the last thing we're going to be doing to finish off this layer is coming right up to the front here again, and where we have the stripped out log right here, the very farthest block out of the cockpit glass right here. Out to the side here, we just have a single tripwire hook. That'll finish off the second pitot tube right here. That's a detail I missed back at the start here, but it's not too hard to put back in, luckily. So, yeah, just a tripwire hook out to the side here. Same thing on the right side of the aircraft, or left rather. So, tripwire hook out to the side right there, and that'll finish off the pitot tubes. And with that, that is everything for Layer 3. Alright, so for Layer 4 here, what we're going to be doing is capping off the cockpit glass here. For this, we'll be very simply dropping a nether brick slab on top of all 5 of these nether brick top slabs from the previous layer. And that will finish off this offset full block of the cockpit glass. Now, back from this center one right here, we're going to have a wool top slab, like this, with a single wool top slab out at an angle from either side, just like this for now. Now going back from this outermost nether brick slab right here, we're going to have a single wool slab right there on either side. Then on the right side only here, we have a single quartz half slab right there. Then 2 wool slabs going back. Another quartz slab right there to finish off the forward door. Then 8 slabs going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Just like this. On the left side here for the forward entry door, we're just going to have a quartz half slab right there to finish off that door. And then 11 wool slabs going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, like so. Now that we have that, to start off the wing box, going back right here from both of these rows, we're going to have a total of 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, we're going to pull out that stripped oak log once more, and we have 2 of these going back, like this. So I'll fly over to the other model here to show you what's going on. This is for the flap track right here on the inside of the fuselage. So this is the track that the wheels of the flaps on the inboard flap section here follow as they extend out and down. So it's these 2 little kind of groove channels on both the inside of the fuselage here and on the engine. So that's what's being emulated with that detail. If you're in default, you can probably either use full blocks of black wool or just omit it entirely, but it is a nice detail to include if you can with the stripped oak logs like this. Anyways, once we have that in place, it's just 3 more blocks of wool going back from both of these right here, and then a wool stair facing backwards, and 3 wool half slabs, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3, like so. Quartz slab back from both of those there to finish off the aft doors, and then 2 wool slabs like so. Next, we'll be going back to the front here, and where we have these 2 wool top slabs out to either side right here, we're going to be dragging these rows all the way to the back right here in line with the quartz slabs. Not the 2 wool slabs right here, but in line with the aft doors, just like this, so leaving those last 2 exposed. Same thing here on the left side, so just drag this all the way back, just like this. There we go. Then back from this here, we're going to have a total of 7 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, that should be starting right from the inside of that first wool slab right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Next, what we're going to do is grab a polished andesite, if I can type. There we go. Wow, that was bad. Okay. Polished andesite back from both of those right there. And then come in towards the center right there. That'll be on top of that second block back of those 2 wool, just like this. This is for some vent details on the side of the rear fuselage right here. Going back now, we have, from the center one here, 3 blocks of wool, and a polished andesite stair, if I can grab that. Here we go. Upside down polished andesite stair facing backwards for the APU exhaust at the rear of the fuselage. And with that, that is everything for Layer 4. Alright, so for layer 5 here, what we're going to be doing is just capping off the top of the fuselage here. For this, what we're going to be doing is coming down to the very first wool top slab right there in the previous layer, and dropping a quartz half slab back from it right here for the escape hatch at the top of the cockpit right here. Back from this, we have 2 wool slabs going back, then a single quartz slab right there for detail on the top of the fuselage. Second wool slab back, or just a single wool slab rather, with another quartz slab like so. Another wool slab, and this time a quartz stair facing forwards for an antenna on the top of the fuselage here. Next we have 2 wool slabs going back, and this time a red-stained glass block right here for the beacon light on the top of the aircraft here. Then just 4 wool slabs going back like so. Next what we're going to do is just box this all off, starting from this first wool slab right here. So this will give you a layer looking like this at the front, so not out from the side of that quartz slab, but out from the side of that first wool slab. And we'll just be blocking this off to the sides, like so. And once we have that, what we're going to be doing is putting in the wing box here, or the last of it that is. So we have a row of 3 wool across the back right there, with a wool slab out to either side. Next, going back from these slabs right here, we'll have 5 blocks of wool. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like this. And box this all off on the inside, like so. If I can reach it. Then, back from this here, what we're going to have is, from these outer 2 layers right here, 2 wool slabs, just like this. Then on the inside of those right here, what we're going to have is a single block of wool and a wool stair facing backwards. And then just box off those center 2 like this. Now, going back here, actually starting from the inside of those 2 quartz stairs, or wool stairs, rather, what we're going to have is a total of 19 blocks of wool going back. So I did have you fill that up, it's not going to be continuing back from there, but that's going to be starting right from the inside of these 2 stairs. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. That should land right there on top of that last wool block from the previous layer. And while we're here, we might as well finish off the APU. For this, what we're going to do is grab a stone button, and just drop this right here, facing perpendicular to the aircraft, like so. Next, back from these wool stairs right here, we have a total of 12 wool slabs going back. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. 1, 2, 3, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Like so. And the last thing we're going to do here for this layer is grab an acacia button. This is the black wool button in the Aeroteam pack here. And on top of this exposed polished diorite andesite it was. Okay, I definitely know these names. On top of this polished andesite here, we're going to have a single acacia button facing parallel to the aircraft, like so. Same thing on the other side here, and that's going to finish off that vent. So with that, that is everything for layer 5, and the fuselage is done. So now that we have the fuselage of the Q400 finished off, what we're going to be doing next is putting in the vertical stabilizer. So for this, we'll be starting right at the back right here, on top of this very last wool block that we placed in layer 5. And on top of this here, we're going to have a single block of wool right there, with a wool top slab going back from it here. 2 blocks of wool going up on top of it, then come back at an angle right here, and we're going to have 3 wool blocks going up, 1, 2, and 3, like so, with a wool top slab going back from that 3rd block. Next, starting on top of this top slab right there, we're going to have 6 wool half slabs going forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, with a wool top slab underneath that 6th slab right there. Block of wool going back from it right there, with a 2nd going down, and a wool half slab forwards from it, like so. Single block of wool down from that half slab there, and then 2 blocks of wool going down at an angle. From that 2nd there, we're going to have 2 wool slabs going forwards. Then come down at an angle right here, and we're going to have 3 blocks of wool going forwards, 1, 2, and 3. Then 3 wool slabs forwards from that. That'll give us this outline here for the vertical stabilizer. All that we're going to be doing now is just filling this in to finish off the tail itself. So this will give us the shape of the Q400's vertical stabilizer here, with the rounded pump at the front here that's finishing off the horizontal stabilizer mountings. All that we have left to do now to finish off the vertical stabilizer is come right here to this row of two wool right there that we placed at the front. Then down a block from it right here, from this block out to the side, what we're going to have is a birch trapdoor on the bottom half of that block. So if you need a better idea of where that is, that's from this last wool half slab right there, down and back, just like this. And what this is here is a strake out to the side of the vertical stabilizer right here. Same thing's going to happen on the other side, so second block back, right there, that's on the bottom half. Now in the Aeroteam pack, the birch trapdoor here is a wool trapdoor material like this. In default, you'll probably want to use an iron trapdoor instead, but this is a much preferable alternative to that in the Aeroteam pack for consistency. Anyways, now that we have that, that is everything for the vertical stabilizer. So let's move on to the horizontal stabilizers. Alright, so for the horizontal stabilizers here, what we're going to be doing is coming down to this row of 4 that's right in the center of the top of the vertical stabilizer right there. Now on the second block back right there of this exposed row of wool, we're going to have a total of 3 netherbrick top slabs out to the side like this. Now, we're going to have a second row of 3 out at an angle like this. So that'll give us 3 there and 3 out at an angle. Then, going back from that third block right there, we'll have a total of 6 quartz top slabs going towards the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's for the elevator detailing on the trailing edge of the horizontal stabilizers here. Then just fill in this gap with a set of 3 wool slabs like this. That's all there is to it for the horizontal stabilizer. So to finish this off, we're just going to grab a lever, and on the third out block of those 3 wool slabs right there, we're going to have a lever, and make sure this is flipped facing backwards like so. And the same thing is just going to happen in mirror fashion on the other side here. So, second wool block back, 3 netherbrick top slabs out to the side, then 3 more out at an angle, like so. 6 quartz slabs towards the center, fill in the gap with wool, and then a lever flipped facing backwards. And that's everything for the horizontal stabilizers. And that'll finish off the T-tail of the Q400. Alright, so what we're going to be doing now is putting in the wings of the Q400. I'm going to be first building the wing outline, and then filling in all of the layering afterwards. Since the Q400 is an overwing aircraft, the wing is actually pretty straightforward to build, so I'm not going to be worrying about the wing root outline as I usually do in my other tutorials. We'll just be jumping straight into this. We'll be starting right here from this very first block of wool on this outer row of 5 right here. We've got 2 netherbrick stairs facing forwards out to the side, just like this, with 2 netherbrick top slabs going out from it, like so. The black netherbrick material here is used for the leading edge detailing on the front of the wing right here. After this, we'll be switching over to wool quickly. We've got a single full block of wool this time, and then 2 wool top slabs out to the side like this for the, well, this wool here is for the engine. These 2 here are exposed for the landing lights. To put those in, what we'll be doing is grabbing a temporary block, placing 2 of those in front of those 2 wool top slabs like this. Grab a torch, place one just right there, just on the front of that block basically. Grab a stick and type /repl0 to switch it over to the replace tool, if I can type that correctly. Select that torch by left-clicking, like so, and paste over both of those temporary blocks, just like that. That'll give you the twin landing lights of the Q400 just outside of the engine right here. If you are in default and can't use, or not in default, in vanilla and can't use World Edit, or even in default and don't have this custom 3D torch model like this, you can leave it out if you want, but I highly recommend that you do include this detail if you have the option to, because it's realistic, and that's what the whole point of this aircraft is. So, now that we have the engine and landing lights in place, what we'll be doing here is, or the start of the engine at least, switch over to your netherbrick again. We've got 3 netherbrick top slabs out to the side from those wool top slabs, just like this. Next we've got 8 netherbrick half slabs this time, up a layer and out at an angle, so like this basically. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's the end of the leading edge outline here. So what we'll be doing now is grabbing a polished andesite slab, or granite rather, polished granite slab. This is the one. In the Aeroteam pack here, it's a red slab material like this for the red nav light on the left side of the aircraft right here. In default, you'll probably want to substitute something like bricks instead, but yeah, this is what we're using here for the solid coloration in the Aeroteam pack. Anyways, now that we have that, that's the end of the leading edge outline. So we'll be switching sides here, and coming in towards the center this time. We've got a wool slab going back from that there, and then 4 quartz half slabs towards the center of the aircraft. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is for the aileron and flap detailing on the leading edge of the wing. Next, we've got 4 quartz half slabs coming in towards the center at an angle. 1, 2, 3, and 4, like this. Next, before we continue on here, what you'll want to do is grab a temporary block, and from the second block of these 4 quartz slabs right here, we have a single temporary block going back. I'm using blue concrete since it sticks out nicely, but you can use whatever you want as long as you can recognize it to come back later to it. This is for a flap track fairing that we'll be putting in after the wing is finished. That's what we'll be doing to continue on here, is coming down a layer and placing 3 quartz top slabs towards the center, with 2 temporary blocks back from the center of those 3, just like this. Next, 2 quartz half slabs in towards the center and down a half slab layer at an angle, like this. And then a wool block towards the center, like so. You'll notice this should be in line with that wool block from the leading edge, and what we're going to be doing for this is grabbing temporary blocks and connecting this up with a row of 5 underneath like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that'll be a marker for us to put in the engine later. Now that we have that all in place, from this wool block that we just placed there, we've got just 4 quartz half slabs towards the center. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that should connect up with the very last exposed wool block of the wing box right there. And that is everything for the wing outline. So all that we're going to be doing here is just filling this in with our layering outlines. So, first things first, we only have 1 layering outline for this, unlike any of our other more complicated wings. So, all that we're going to be doing is just coming to this part of the leading edge right here, where it comes up with this nether brick half slab right here, and drop a wool half slab out at an angle from it. Simple as that. There's nothing more to it. So that's everything for the top layer right here, or the layering on the top side, that is. So what we'll be doing here is filling all of this in with wool half slabs for now, staying inside the quartz outline here. So, since this is an overwing aircraft again, as I've mentioned, the wing itself has a little bit of a different shape, so the layering style is a bit different. So basically just what we're going to be doing here, instead of filling everything in where we have the layering outlines already set up like this, what I'm going to have you do is fill in everything in this first layer with wool top slabs, just to start off with right here, staying inside both the layering from the leading edge there and also the layer down half slab, just like this at the trailing edge with the flaps. So just stay all in line like this. Again, it curves down at the rear here for the flaps, which isn't something you see on normal, on our other, normal aircraft wings. So we have a shape looking like this for the top layering. Now all that we're going to do for the rest to finish this off is just fill in this outer layer right there with the wool half slabs. And that is all of the layering for the top face in place. So to fill in the underside now, because it's looking a bit hollow at the moment, to finish this off right here, what we're going to be doing for the first layer is coming to the second nether brick stair right here, then place 1 and 2 wool slabs out at a diagonal angle like this, then out from this right here, on top of this row of 5 of the temporary blocks right here for the engine pylon, or engine marker rather. To finish off the engine itself, embedded in the wing, we're just going to be placing a row of 3 wool half slabs on top of that, just like this. And then to finish off the wing layering here, out from that second exposed wool full block right there, we have 1 and 2 wool slabs going back, then 1 out at an angle right there to connect up with that quartz slab, and just fill in that single space right there. For this last layer right here, we're just going to be placing a single wool slab back from that wool top slab that's there already. It's just a straight line across for that layer of the wing. And with that, that is the wing layering all in place. So all that we're going to be doing now to finish off the wing is putting in the flap track fairing details at the trailing edge here. So starting from this outermost temporary block right here, this single temporary block that's exposed, starting underneath it here, we're going to be placing 2 wool slabs going forwards, just like this. Wool top slabs, that is, and you can knock out that temporary block. And for the second and final flap track fairing right here, knock out that first temporary block of the 2, the forwardmost one right there, then place a wool half slab on the bottom half, going forwards from the second right there in its place, and then a quartz half slab forwards from that to connect in with the flap outline, and you can knock out that temporary block. We'll be putting in the engine itself after we've finished mirroring the wings over. The reason I had used temporary blocks here to set this out instead of, just building off the engine pylon later is because there really is no clearly defined engine pylon for this since the engine is embedded into the wing, so that just helps set things out nicely. Oh dear, I forgot to fill this in. Okay, so don't be like me. What you'll want to do is make sure that you have this section of the wing on the inboard section here, inside the engine, filled in with the wool half slabs. My apologies for missing that. I didn't see it past the engine marker here, so I couldn't tell that it wasn't filled in. Sorry about that. But yes, you'll want to make sure that that is all filled in nicely to finish off the wing layering. So, now that we have that, what you're going to be doing is just mirroring this wing over to the other side of the aircraft. You can find a timestamp back to when we started with the wing outline in the video description below. But, yeah, just mirror that over, and I'll catch you once that's done. And this is what your finished wing should look like copied on over to the other side of the aircraft here. The last thing we're going to be doing to finish this off is replacing the red nav light on the right side of the aircraft here with its green counterpart. So what we'll be doing is knocking out that polished granite slab right there, and replacing it with a dark prismarine slab, if I can find it. Not the dark prismarine slab, the prismarine brick slab, rather. This one. It's in the Aeroteam pack here. It's a green slab color, like this. This is for the, again, the green nav light on the right side of the aircraft here. In default, you can probably substitute one of the other prismarine slabs that is kind of on the more bluish, or on the more greenish blue side. But yes, this is a much cleaner color here in the Aeroteam pack as an alternative to that. So that's all that you'll be doing here to modify the wing on the right side of the aircraft. That's everything for the wings. So what we'll be doing next is putting in the engines. Alright, so for our two Pratt & Whitney PW150 engines on the Q400, what we'll be doing is coming to this row of 5 temporary blocks that we'd set out for ourselves there on the left and right wings. What we'll be doing here is knocking out the first 3 of these temporary blocks, leaving the last 2 intact, then placing 3 wool going forwards from that, just like this. Next, come up from this here, where we have that 1 wool there exposed in the leading edge of the wing, we've got 2 blocks of wool going forwards from that there, with a wool half slab forwards like so. Underneath this here, we have an upside-down wool stair facing forwards, with a wool top slab underneath, like this. Next, we'll be dragging this back 3 more, so we've got 1 already, then 1, 2, and 3, for a total of 4, like this. And fill in that space there with 2 blocks of wool. Out from that second block that we just placed there, we have an acacia button out to either side. In the Aeroteam plat pack, that's a black wool texture like this. Just use a stone button in default, but this is more accurate to the real detail on the actual aircraft. So, yeah. This is the mounting for the propeller right here, this wool top slab there in that part of the stair. Then this indentation nook right here on the underside portion of the engine is for the intake at the front of the engine, and that drives the turboprop shaft and all that. So, once we have that, what we'll be doing next is coming back here, and you can knock out those last 2 temporary blocks right here. In its place, what we'll be having is 2 stripped oak logs, going back just like this, aligned vertically. Again, just as with the 2 stripped oak logs there in the fuselage, this is for the flap track fairing, or not flap track fairing, but just the flap track rather, for this inboard section of flaps right here. And once we have that, again, if you're in default and don't have access to that, you can either use just a full block of black wool, or just bring wool all the way across and don't worry about it, but this is a very nice detail to include if you can. Anyways, what we'll be doing now is placing 3 blocks of wool back from this here, 1, 2, and 3. Come up here and back from this wool in the trailing edge right there, we have a single block of wool. Then grab polished andesite, and we have a polished andesite stair facing backwards with a slab behind it, just like this, for the curved exhaust at the rear of the engine. Lastly, to finish off the engine itself here, what we'll be doing is placing 5 quartz top slabs back from this wool top slab right there in the layer down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like so. This is for the gear door in the underside of the engine right here. So the engine does house the landing gear. Then back from that quartz top slab there, we have just a single wool top slab going back. And that will finish off the engine. So, before we add in the propeller, I'll just build the same thing here on the other side of the aircraft. So, first 3 temporary blocks right here, replace those with wool, then 2 blocks of wool going forwards for that wool in the leading edge, wool half slab going forwards there, upside down wool stair, wool top slab, 1, 2, and 3 more going back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 towards top slabs for the gear doors, then a wool top slab there. Fill in those 2 with wool right there with an acacia button out to either side of the first. Then, knock out those 2 temporary blocks, 2 stripped out clods in its place, then 3 blocks of wool going back. Block of wool on top right there, polished andesite stair facing backwards, and a polished andesite slab behind. And that will finish off the PW150 engines. So, that's what we'll be doing, now that we have that all in place, is putting in the propellers. For the propellers here, we'll be building this out of nether brick, so we've got our nether brick stairs and slabs. Then in addition to this, we'll also be using the dead fire coral fan right here. In the Aeroteam pack, this is a black wool vertical slab model, which will help thin off the vertically aligned propellers. Then in addition to this, we'll also be using the birch slab for the yellow tips of the Q400's propellers. So, let's get this started. The first thing that we're going to be doing here is placing a black wool full block forwards from that wool slab right there in the engine itself, with an upside down stair facing out to towards the left side. I would say towards the center of the aircraft, but the thing about the Q400's propellers is they aren't symmetrical, so instead of mirroring on the other side of the aircraft, it is the exact same propeller. They both rotate in the same direction. So, yeah, don't put that towards the center, put that towards the left of the aircraft here, or towards the right-hand side from the perspective of the aircraft. Just like this, basically. You should be looking at the screen already to see what I mean. Anyways, once we have that in place, to finish off the indentation here in the engine itself, as you can see that cornered off that stair, we don't want that to happen. Instead, what we're going to be doing here is placing a wool stair forwards here, grabbing that with a replace tool and pasting over like this. That'll keep it still aligned forwards with that indentation without cornering it off and ruining the shape of the front of the engine. So, now that we have that in place, we have a nether brick top slab rather, forwards from that upside down stair there, with a nether brick half slab on top to finish off the spinner at the front of the propeller. Once we have that all in place, now we can finally start putting in the propellers themselves. So, what I'm going to be doing here is starting with the top propeller and just kind of working my way around clockwise. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is actually starting with our vertical slabs here. I'm going to grab a barrier for this. We're going to drop a barrier out at an angle in towards the left side right here, out from that black wool full block right there, with a dead fire coral fan on its face right here for the black wool full block, or vertical slab rather. On top of this here, we're going to have a nether brick stair facing towards the right, with a birch slab on top for the yellow tip of the propeller. If you are in default and cannot use the vertical slab, I suppose you could try using a nether brick stair instead to kind of get at the more thin shape, but it will be a bit thicker towards the base, so I do recommend using that vertical slab if you have the option to. Once we have that, for the next propeller, we have a nether brick upside down stair out to the side, just like this. Nether brick slab up at an angle, then a birch top slab up at an angle like this. Underneath this upside down stair right here, we have another upside down stair, this time facing towards the left, with a nether brick top slab down at an angle like so, then another half slab down at an angle. That'll give you that third propeller. Now we'll basically be rotating that top propeller this time. So, we have a barrier down right here, with the dead fire coral fan off to the left right there. This time, a nether brick stair facing towards the left, regular stair, with a birch top slab underneath for the yellow tip of the propeller. Next here, from that upside down stair that we had in the base, we have a nether brick stair facing towards the left, like so, with a nether brick top slab down at an angle, and a birch half slab down at an angle, like so. And for the sixth and final propeller of the Q400's 6 propeller blades, what we'll be doing here is starting on top of that nether brick stair right there, with a nether brick stair facing towards the right, like this. another brick half slab up at an angle from it, and a birch top slab out at an angle, just like that. And that is everything for the propeller of the Q400. So, we'll be doing the same thing on the right side of the aircraft here. This will not mirror. This is a direct copy of the left Q400's propeller, or the Q400 propeller on the left side boards. This is a direct copy here. So, starting right here, we have a Blackwell full block forwards from that wool slab. Then a netherbrick stair facing towards the left. Again, that's towards the left, not towards the center. And then we'll just paste that wool stair forwards just like this to preserve the shape of the intake right there without cornering off that stair. Then a Blackwell top slab forwards from that stair there, and a half slab on top for the spinner at the front. Again, here I'll be starting just wrapping my way around clockwise with the propellers, so barrier off at an angle here, dead fire coral fan against it, and an upside down netherbrick stair right there facing towards the right, birch half slab on top, upside down netherbrick stair facing towards the right there, birch slab, or netherbrick slab out at an angle like this, and a birch top slab out at an angle like so. Upside down stair facing towards the right, like this, then a netherbrick slab down at an angle, and a birch slab out at an angle right there, like so. Barrier underneath that upside down stair there, with a dead fire coral fan off to the left, then a regular netherbrick stair facing towards the left, and a birch top slab underneath. Then a regular birch stair off to the left of that upside down stair right there, with a netherbrick top slab down at an angle like this, and a birch top slab, or half slab rather, down at an angle just like that. And for the sixth and final blade, we've got a regular netherbrick stair there facing towards the center, then a netherbrick half slab up at an angle, and a birch top slab up at an angle, just like this. And once you have that all in place, that is everything for the engines of the Q400. So, once you have that all done, that is everything for the exterior of the in-flight aircraft. Now, before we move on to the landing gear and other aircraft configurations, we're next going to be building the interior. So, step on inside the aircraft here, and what we'll be doing is starting right up here at the front with the flight deck. The first thing that we're going to do is find this row right here in between the two forward doors, well, the forward entry door and the cargo door, that is. Skipping this first block right here in the center row, we've got a diorite stair facing forwards right here, just like this. This will be for the, well, this will be where the forward, or the cabin door comes in for the flight deck. We'll be worrying about that all later. So, once we have that there, what we'll be doing is next putting a stonebrick full block out to either side, just like this, and an upside-down stonebrick stair facing forwards on top of both of these here. So, before I continue on, I might as well explain this here. Here's for the pilot and co-pilot seats. Instead of just being a normal stair with a slab on top for the seat and headrest, the seating level, or the floor of the Q400 here, is actually at a slab level like this. So it's in between block layers rather than just being straight on top of the full block right here. So this design here that we have at the front for the pilot and co-pilot seats with the full block at the bottom and an upside down stair on top is the same seat design here, shifted up a half slab layer. So that's what's going on here for the pilot and co-pilot seats. So once we have that all in place there, the next thing we're going to do is grab a wool stair here. We've got an upside down wool stair in place of the wool top slab above the two seats right here. And that'll fill in the wall at the back right here against the flight deck. Now to put in the cabin door right here at the rear of the flight deck, this is a bit interesting. So, as you may be aware, doors cannot be placed on top of stairs like this. They have to be placed on solid blocks, and they are also tied to the block they're placed on, so when that block is broken, the door itself breaks as well. So in order to get this in here, what we're going to have to do is replace that diorite stair with a full block. First, what we're going to do is take the replace tool and select that stair, just like this. Then we can replace it with a full block, and place a door on top of it, just like this, at the rear face of the block, so it closes like this. Cool, doors are breaking, that's awesome. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. The server's a little bit broken in regards to doors, but, yeah. So you should have a door looking like this that will work for you, even if it's not working for me. And, yeah, that's great. So, once you have that in place there, what you can do now is replace that direct full block there with the direct stair that we had selected previously. Before we do this, what you're going to want to do is make sure you're in fast mode. That's //fast for world edit here. What that'll do is place the block in without providing block updates to the surrounding blocks, so that'll keep the door here from breaking. So just paste over that direct full block by right-clicking, like so, and that'll give us the door right here, perfectly. So, that's the kind of the rear of the flight deck finished off there. What we're going to be doing next is placing a direct half slab here, going forwards from that stonebrick full block for each of the seats, just like this. Then replacing this wool full block right there with a wool stair facing backwards, just like this. That has to be a wool stair instead of a direct stair because the block is exposed on the exterior of the nose right here, so that'll seal off the outside nicely. This is for the indentation for the foot pedals in the at the pilot and co-pilot seats here. So, now that we have that, the next thing that we're going to be doing here is putting in the center pedestal. So we have a stonebrick stair facing backwards right there, with a stonebrick full block going forwards from it, just like this. That's for the pedestal and throttle quadrant between the two pilots, just like this. Next, grab a dark oak fence gate. We've got a dark oak fence gate on top of both of those direct slabs there, opened up towards the front for the yokes of the Q400. Next, what we're going to do here is somehow manage to get a stonebrick half slab underneath these two netherbrick top slabs here. For this, grab the stripped dark oak log, here it is, in the Aeroteam pack, and replace both of these netherbrick blocks, or netherbrick top slabs, with that, just like this. That's for the instrument panel there on either side. And then for the glare shield here, we have a stonebrick half slab, or top slab rather, in between those two netherbrick top slabs, just like this. Next, the last thing we're going to be doing here to finish off this instrument panel is putting in a light blue top slab, or half slab, in between these two wool blocks right there in the nose. And that'll finish off the instrument panel here in the center. Now for this, what we're going to be using is the stripped jungle log, since this does also occupy the space of that netherbrick top slab there. So, just place that here. That'll keep the cockpit glass intact, just like all of the other stripped logs here, while also giving us that light blue jungle slab right there between the two blocks for the instrument panel, or the display in the center there. Then we can just drop that stonebrick slab there, again in between the two dark oak logs. And that is the flight deck there done. So to finish this off here, what we're just going to be doing is dropping a jungle trapdoor behind that wool slab right there. And that'll both cover up that quartz top slab there, while also replicating the overhead panel for the Q400's flight deck. So with that, that is the flight deck in place. So we can continue moving on with the cabin now. I had to go through the blocks there because, again, door's a little bit broken on the server right now, but don't pay attention to that. It's fun. So, once we have that, what we're going to be doing is putting in the forward cargo hold here. Now, as I mentioned when we were putting in the doors on the outside here, this right space at the front of the Q400's cabin is occupied by the forward cargo hold. It's a very small compartment here that's accessed from the exterior of the aircraft. For this to put this in here, we're going to be coming to this space on the right side of the aircraft here. First, grab wool. We have, up the left side here, 2 blocks of wool, like this, and then fill in that wool top slab with a full block. So you've got 3 blocks of wool here. Then in the center here, we have 2 blocks of quartz, right at the center. Then turn that wool top slab there into an upside-down wool stair facing towards the center of the aircraft. And up the right side here of this, we have 2 blocks of wool, and turn that into a full block. That'll give this kind of closed-off cargo compartment here with the closet on the side. To finish off the detailing for this, what we're first going to do is grab a stone button. On the second block up of these 2 quartz full blocks here, we have a stone button off to the side of it right here. Then we have an iron trapdoor closed against the side of this second wool block up, just like this. And then to finish all of this off here, we're just going to grab a jungle trapdoor and close this up against the second block up of this rear row here, just like this, against the rear face of that block. And that'll finish off the forward cargo hold. So now we can actually get going with the seating and everything. First thing that we're going to be doing is grabbing a netherbrick slab and putting in the cabin floor here. Netherbrick slab and diorite, that is. For this, coming from the forward door right here, what we're going to do is take 2 netherbrick slabs across right there, and then drag the center row all the way back here. So just drag this in line with the aft doors. Again, as I mentioned with the flight deck, the Q400's cabin is actually at a half slab layer like this rather than being just straight on the full blocks like this. So that'll go right there in between the two aft doors right here. We'll worry about all that later once we've finished off the cabin. Next, what we're going to be doing is actually not filling in the seating, because this is going to get, or filling in the floor, that is, because as we put in the seating, we're just going to be actually, replacing the blocks here. So we're going to be leaving the floor empty as it is, and then filling in all of this afterwards once we've finished the seating, just to make things easier for ourselves. First things first, grab a general trapdoor again, and close this up against that upside-down stonebridge stair right there from the flight deck. That'll finish off the, I believe this is the, flight attendant jump seat right there up against the forward entry. Don't quote me on that, but that'll finish off the detailing there for the entrance. So, now that we've got that all in place, we can start work on the seating. For the seating here of the Q400's cabin, it's just a one-class interior config. We're going to be using the prismarine material for this, with the prismarine full block and upside-down stairs. In the Aeroteam pack, that's this very nice deep navy blue color like this. If you're in default, you can probably get away with something like netherbrick seating for a black seating color, or stonebrick stairs instead, but this is the blue color that we like to use for the default interior configs for our blank aircraft. So, for this, we're going to be starting right in on the left side of the aircraft here, skipping this first block back of the exposed wool right here. On the second block here, we'll have a prismarine full block, or again, whatever seating color you're using, with an upside-down prismarine stair facing forwards on top of it. That's the same design as the pilot and co-pilot seats. It's the normal stair slab seating design, shifted up a half slab layer, just like this. So, once you have that, what we're going to be doing is then we can fill in that gap in the floor right there with the diorite slab to fill in the gray floor color. And this is going to repeat back for a total of 12 seats on the left-hand side of the aircraft. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 seats just like this. On the right-hand side of the aircraft, since we do have this, the forward cargo hold and the exit door right here, it is shifted back a little bit and asymmetrical, so we'll be skipping this first exposed wool block right there. You can fill that in with the diorite slab. And on the second block here, we have the full block and stair facing forwards. This is going to repeat back for a total of 11 seats on the right-hand side of the aircraft. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there we go, 8, 9, 10, and 11, just like this, and that will line up perfectly there. So with that, that is the cabin seating done. So from here, what we're going to be doing is putting in the aft galleys right here. So for this, what we're first going to do is grab, clear out my mess of an inventory quickly here. First things first, for the barriers behind the, or the bulkheads behind the economy class seating here, what we'll first have is a wool stair facing backwards behind that full block there, with a birch trapdoor closed against the prismarine stair, or again, iron trapdoor in default. I don't know how many times I need to say that, but yeah. Then in the ceiling here, we'll be knocking out that wool top slab and replacing it with an upside-down wool stair facing backwards. That'll finish off this curved bulkhead right here that rests behind the seats. So, stair facing backwards, birch trapdoor, and close that off with an upside-down wool stair there. Perfect. That will close all of that off. So now to put in the aft galleys here, what we're first going to do is grab a block of cobblestone, which I don't have in my inventory. Here we go. So we have a full block of cobblestone right there behind that very last nether brick half slab that we placed for the aisle markings. Again, if you didn't get that, that's right between those two wool blocks behind the aft doors right here. Now, on top of this here, what we're going to grab is a polished andesite slab We're going to place that right there on top of the wool block, or on top of the cobblestone rather, then one to its left on top of that wool block. On the right side here, that's going to be a quartz full block, right here, with a gentle trapdoor closed against it like this. And stone trapdoor there is for the flight attendant jump seat at the rear of the aircraft here. Now, what we're going to be doing next is knocking out this wool block above it, above the quartz full block that is, and replacing it with a wool stair upside down facing towards the center. And we're going to do the same thing to this next block back here. So that will be a stair facing towards the center, like so, and fill in that block underneath it with a quartz full block. Next, going back from this polished andesite slab here in the center, we're going to have a stone brick stair facing forwards, just like this. Then grab your smooth stone again. We have 1 and 2 smooth stone blocks going forward, starting on top of it, like so. Then in this single block space here to finish off the rest of the galleys, what we're going to do is grab a dispenser and place that facing forwards in that space, just like that. And that will finish off the aft galleys. So now that we have the aft galleys put in place here, the last thing to do to finish off the cabin interior is just to take birch trapdoors and round off the ceiling here. So to close all of this off, what we're just going to be doing is dropping birch top half trapdoors going all the way back in between these two sets of wool top slabs, just like this. That'll fill in the shaping of the interior here while also closing off all of the exterior details such as the antennas, beacon lights, all that was on the top there. And all the way to the forward door, or the cabin door, just like this. So with that, that is everything for the cabin interior. Now the last thing we're going to do before we're done with the interior as a whole is actually step on to the outside of the aircraft here. And we'll be putting in the aft cargo hold. So where we have the aft door here on the left side of the aircraft, we'll just punch our way in here. And to put this in, what we're first going to do is fill in this one exposed void block right here with a smooth stone, just like this. Then, on top of these wool blocks right here, skipping that smooth stone that we put in place there, we have 1, 2, and 3 gentle trapdoors going back. This should leave you a space of 4, just like this. Then against these last 2 blocks right here, we'll place smooth stone going up the rear, just like that, to close off the borders of the aft cargo hold itself. And to finish this off, we're going to grab nether brick fences and place 2 of these against the front, just like this. That's for the black netting at the front of the cargo hold right there. So, that's the aft cargo hold done. All that we're going to do now is just seal this up, so place all those blocks that we broke to get inside. And with that, that is everything for the interior of the Q400. So with that, that is almost everything for the in-flight aircraft. Since this is a propeller aircraft, of course, the propellers are in motion when the engines are running. So if you have this in flight, or even just on the ground with the engines running, then we still have the running propellers to add on at the end of the video. I'm not going to be building the landing gear here, but if you are building this in flight with the landing gear retracted, then you can find a timestamp to the running propellers in the description below. Otherwise, with that, let's get going on the landing gear. Alright, so for the landing gear of the Q400, we'll be starting right up here at the nose of the aircraft with the nose gear. Hop on underneath here, and where we have the nose gear door, the second block back of the 2 quartz full blocks there, we're going to knock out and replace with a stone brick wall for the gear strut. Underneath this here, we're going to have a black wool full block for the gear itself, with a quartz top slab out to either side for the opened gear doors to the sides. That's everything for the nose gear. It's very simple. It's quite a stubby little thing. So, with that, we can very easily move on to the main landing gear. And this is a bit more fun and involved. So what we'll be doing here is knocking out the first 3 top slabs of this row of 5 of the quartz going from the front. So 1, 2, and 3. These last 2 here we'll leave intact. Going forwards, or down rather, from this third block that we broke there, we have 2 stone brick walls, like this, with a mossy stone brick wall underneath. In the Aeroteam pack, this is a stone texture. In default, you can use a cobblestone wall instead, but yeah, this is a smoother texture. So, underneath this now, we're going to have a black wool full block for the wheel, with a stone button out to either side for the rims of the wheel. That's the strut itself in place. So for the support struts now, what we're going to be doing is placing an iron bar going forwards from that mossy stone brick wall there, then one above, just like this, then one going forwards, and one above that second, just like this, to give you an angle pattern looking something like this. Now, that's all well and good, but we can get this to be a bit more streamlined with the use of World Edit. The first thing that we're going to be doing here is connecting this mossy stone brick wall up to this, the front to connect in with the iron bar there. For this, we'll place a mossy wall just anywhere, with a second going forwards from it, like this. Grab a stick, select that by left-clicking, and paste over by right-clicking on that wall, like so. That'll trick it into getting this forward connection, like this. Then to get the iron bar to both connect into it here, and also mesh more nicely with the rest of the iron bars in the support strut there, what we'll do here is drop an iron bar anywhere, then one forwards and back from it like this to give it the full plate model like this. Select that and paste over like that. And that will give you the support strut of the landing gear there. And to finish off the gear doors here, where we knocked out that front section of the gear doors, we'll first place a birch trapdoor closed against that stone brick wall there. Then 1 and 2 more going forwards from it, like this. That'll close off that section of the gear doors, and we can just do the same thing on the other side of the engine here. So, 1, 2, and 3 all closed up against the side there. Looks like that broke the connection of the walls there with the trapdoors on the left side here, so I'm just going to reopen those two just to get that to flush off nicely. But that will finish off the gear doors. So interestingly enough, for the design of the Q400's main landing gear, it is housed in the engine here, and it rotates from the rear. So these two quartz top slabs there represent the aft section of the gear doors, which open up to allow the landing gear to extend out, where it's then, you know, it's extended as represented here. Then that closes up behind. So there is a reason that we left those two closed like this. So, that is everything for the main landing gear on the left side of the aircraft here, and we'll just be doing the same exact process on the right. So, come over here to the right engine, knock out those first 3 quartz top slabs there, down from the last exposed block there, 2 stone brick walls, mossy stone brick wall underneath, and a black wool full block there for the wheel. Stone button out to the side to finish off the rims, then in iron bar forwards from that mossy wall right there, 1 above, 1 forwards, and 1 above, like so. I still have that full iron bar on my clipboard, so I'll just paste that over quickly, like that. And then just fix that mossy stone brick wall up like so. And once you have that, it's just a matter of finishing off the gear doors here. So close all of that off. And same thing here. And fixing the alignment as well with those walls, like that. And with that, the landing gear of the Q400 is done. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to be doing here is showing you how to build the running propellers. If you would like to just have this as a static aircraft display with the engine shut off, parked at a gate or something, then obviously you won't have the engines running, and you can find a timestamp to the flaps configs in the description below to skip ahead past this section then. If you are building the propellers running though, in motion, what we're going to be doing for this is ripping out all of the propeller blades here that we have in place. And once that's done here, what we're then going to do is just leave these 2 black wool full blocks right here. So we have this black wool full block right there, then this upside down stair below it is just going to switch out for a solid black wool full block like this. Next, for the running blades themselves, we're going to be using the black stained glass pane and yellow stained glass pane for the yellow tips of the propellers. For this, above the black wool full block right there, that top one, we have 2 black stained glass panes going up, with a yellow stained glass pane above, like this. Out to either side here, we're going to have a second yellow stained pane, with a black stained glass pane below, then 1 yellow pane out to the side, black stained glass pane below, yellow pane out to the side, then 2 black stained glass panes going down, with 2 yellow stained glass panes against the side, like this. 1 yellow pane below that black pane right there, black pane towards the center, yellow pane below, then 1, 2, and 3 black panes across the center, 1, 2, and 3 yellow panes below, then a yellow pane to the left of that black pane right there, black pane above, yellow pane to the left, then 1 and 2 black panes up, 2 yellow panes to the left, then a yellow pane above the black pane right there, black pane to the center, yellow pane up, black pane to the center. That'll give you this nice round outline for the propellers themselves here, and we can just fill in all of these empty spaces here with the black stained glass panes. And that will give you the gist of the running propellers here. So once we have this all in place here, we can also use World Edit to make the outline of the propeller here a little bit less diagonal and more circular and flowing. So as you can see right now, it's a bit kind of diamond-shaped in nature, where it's all boxed off like this. So for this, what we're going to be doing is grabbing the stick, the Replace tool with World Edit, and select that solid pane right there of the yellow stained glass pane. We're going to be pasting it over this one to its right, and these two down to the right from it, like this. We're going to be leaving off these two side ones right there, just to have that as a bit more of a rounder inclination like this, so those aren't going to become full panes. These next three down here diagonally are, though, and then these three up the side here, again leaving those two on the side, and then just round off these three like so. And that'll give you this much nicer looking, rounder shape for the Q400's propellers. And we'll just do the same thing on the right engine here. So, rip out all of the propellers here, the blades that is, leaving these black wool blocks in the center here. We have that black wool block on the top half there, and rip out that netherite stair and replace it with a black wool full block. Two black wool panes up here, then we have the three across with the yellow panes, then 1, 2, and 3 of these, like this. One down, 1, 2, and 3 diagonally. Make this a row of 3 across here. These are always a pain to place quickly. 1, 2, and 3 diagonally. Make that a row of 2 up like this. Then 1, 2, and that'll connect off with a third right there diagonally, like so. And all of this here will get filled in with the black stained glass panes, like this. I think I placed it, yeah, there we go. Don't place that on the barrier like I did. Close all of this off here, and that will be the propellers in place. And then just round all of this off here, again skipping those two on both sides here. Just like that. If you don't have World Edit, that isn't too crucial of a detail to do, but it does help immensely to improve the shape of the propellers. Anyways, once we have that, that is everything for the in-flight propellers here. And we'll be next moving on to the flaps configurations. Alright, so as I mentioned, I will be next moving on to the flaps configurations for the Q400. So if you aren't including any of the flaps, if you just have the flaps retracted, as it is here, then you are done with this tutorial, and you can skip right on ahead to the end of the video. Otherwise, I'll be next building the flaps configurations here. So we'll be starting with the takeoff flaps, and then building the landing flaps afterwards. Now, unlike other aircraft, the Q400 actually doesn't have any leading edge slats, so the black nether brick that you see on the leading edge there is just for the anti-ice boots on the leading edge of the wing. That's not the slats. So we don't have any common slats between the two different flaps configs here. So we'll first be building the takeoff flaps, as I said. If you aren't building the takeoff flaps though, and you'd instead like to skip ahead to the landing flaps, then, as always, timestamp for that will be in the description below. Otherwise, let's get going on the takeoff flaps. Alright, so for the takeoff flaps here, which is the standard of flaps 5 on the Q400, again, as I mentioned, these flaps configurations were designed by the very talented Miles, so huge thanks to him. We'll be starting here with the inboard flap section in between the engine and the fuselage here. We'll be knocking out these 4 quartz slabs here and replacing them with quartz stairs facing backwards like this to give the indication of a backwards tilt. Underneath all 4 of these here, we'll be placing birch trapdoors to finish off the inclination on the underside here. And that's all there is to it for that section. For the outboard flaps here, where we have these 2 quartz slabs, we'll be again replacing them with quartz stairs facing backwards, with birch trapdoors underneath. And same thing here with this quartz top slab, that will become a quartz stair facing backwards with a trapdoor underneath, like so. Going out from this here, we're going to be placing a wool top slab underneath that wool half slab there for that flap track fairing. And then on our way out here, where we have this, there's that quartz full block there, then the single quartz top slab. This next quartz half slab out here, that's going to get knocked out and replaced with a quartz half slab down a layer. And then we'll have a single birch trapdoor underneath that quartz half slab there to finish off the indentation curvature, like this. For the final flapjack fairing here, that is also going to get ripped out and replaced with a wool stair facing backwards, like so. And then underneath this very last quartz slab right there in the flaps, we'll have a birch trapdoor underneath. And all of this remaining section here is for the ailerons, so that will remain untouched. And once you have that, that is everything for the takeoff flaps here. So we don't have anything more to clean up on the underside here in terms of the flapjack fairings. It's all just left as it is. So we'll just be repeating the same process on the left-hand side of the aircraft. So these 4 quartz slabs in the inboard section there, replaced with quartz stairs, birch trapdoors underneath, like this. These 2 quartz slabs replaced with birch stairs facing backwards, quartz stairs rather, and then 2 birch trapdoors underneath. We have this quartz top slab here, replace that with a quartz stair facing backwards, and a birch trapdoor underneath. For the flapjack fairing here, we have a single wool top slab underneath that wool half slab there, and then coming out to this next section of flaps here, we'll be taking this single quartz half slab there, and moving that to a quartz top slab down a layer. Then on either side of that wool top slab there, we have a birch trapdoor to finish off the indentation of the flaps there. And to finish this off here, replace that single wool top slab there with a quartz wool stair rather, facing backwards just like this for the slight angling of that flapjack fairing, like so. And that is everything for the takeoff flaps. Alright, so for the landing flaps here, which is the standard of flaps 35 for the Q400, we'll be starting here with the inboard flaps. So in between the engine and the fuselage here, where we have this row of 4 quartz top slabs right here, back from this here, we're going to be placing a row of, or half slabs rather, we're going to be placing a row of 4 quartz top slabs down at an angle from this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, across just like this. And that will form this extended angle for the inboard flap section here. For the outboard flaps, let's work our way from the inside to the outside. So where we have these 2 quartz half slabs right here, we'll be replacing these with quartz stairs facing backwards like this. Down from the innermost one, we'll have a quartz top slab down at an angle, like this. Next, we'll be taking this quartz top slab here, moving it to a quartz half slab down a layer, just like this, with a quartz top slab coming off of it down at an angle, like so. Shave that top slab off of that quartz full block there for the flapjack fairing, and then move that wool slab there to a wool top slab down at an angle off of it, like this. Knock out this quartz slab right here, replace it with a quartz stair facing backwards. Same thing with this quartz slab right there, quartz stair facing backwards, like so. Then take this next quartz half slab right there, move it down to a quartz top slab down a layer, like this. Then these next 2 as well will get shifted down a layer, like so. So you have a row of 3 quartz top slabs coming across. You'll notice we have this flapjack fairing sticking out now from that. We're going to shift that to a quartz, or a wool half slab, down at an angle coming off of it, like this. And to clean up the underside of that flapjack fairing, what we're going to be doing is coming off of that quartz top slab right there, we'll have a birch trapdoor underneath, like this. Then for this next flapjack fairing right here, where we have that wool half slab right there, we'll have a birch trapdoor coming forwards from it, like this. Then take this wool top slab in the wing itself right here, and replace it with a wool stair facing forwards, just like this, to kind of bind off the angling of that extended flapjack fairing, like so. And that is everything for the landing flaps. So we'll be repeating the same process on the other side of the aircraft. So for the inboard flap section right here, between the fuselage and the engines, 4 quartz top slabs down at an angle from that row that we have already. Then replace this quartz half slab right here with a quartz stair facing backwards, and a quartz top slab down at an angle from it. This next one here is going to be a quartz stair as well, no top slab coming off of that, just that one right there. Then shift this quartz half slab down a layer, like this, and shave the top slab off of that quartz full block right there. Angle this flapjack fairing by placing a top slab underneath that wool and knocking that out, like this. Take this quartz top slab right there and replace it with a quartz stair facing backwards. Then this quartz half slab right there is going to get knocked out and replaced with a quartz stair facing backwards. Then this row of 3 quartz half slabs coming out right here is going to get knocked out and shifted down a layer just like this. And angle the flapjack fairing here by shifting that top slab down to a half slab layer. So that'll give us this nice harsh angle for the landing flaps here at the trailing edge of the wing. And to finish off the flap track fairings here, we're going to be placing a birch trapdoor forwards from that quartz slab right there. And for this inner fairing right there, we'll be placing a trapdoor underneath that quartz slab and replacing that wool top slab there with a wool stair facing forwards. I just realized that I missed a bit there. So where's this happening? So we have in from this wool top slab right there, we'll be placing a quartz top slab in towards the center right there to flush that off, just like this. And that is everything for the landing flaps. Alright, so the final configuration we have for the Q400 here is the ground spoilers. So this here is how the aircraft would be configured on final approach, with the landing gear extended and the flaps extended to 35. Now, what we can also do here is make the ground spoilers extended for deceleration on the runway. So if that is something that you would like to include, I'll be showing you how to add that in now. For this, what we're going to be doing here is coming down to the wingtip, where we have these 4 quartz slabs for the aileron detailing here. In from this, you'll notice this row of wool half slabs right here. We'll be knocking out this wool half slab, as well as all of the slabs going towards the center right there. That wool top slab underneath that last one right there. Preserving this upside-down quartz stair, or wool stair right there for the flap track fairing. That's not going to get knocked out, but the wool top slab in from it right there is going to. And just that single top slab there. That's the only space we're going to be carving out here. So now that we have that section of the wing carved out where the speed brakes will deploy from, we'll be coming here to that upside-down wool stair right there in that inner flap track fairing right there, and placing a wool stair facing forwards on top of it just like this, with a second and third out to either side like so. Next, what we're going to do here is grab any old temporary block, and then place 4 of these going out to the side just like this from that row of 3 wool stairs right there. Now, this is where we're going to be placing in our vertical slabs. So, off of this, let's see, place a dead brain twirl fan facing backwards off of any of those blocks, like this. Select it with a stick, and paste over these first 2 inner temporary blocks, like so. Again, we have to use these temporary blocks here because this is a half slab layer for the leading edge, and we obviously can't place any twirl on that without the use of world edit. So we have the 2 wool slabs right there for the white speed brake panel. Now, interestingly enough, for the outer section right here, it has a red-black painting marker on the underside of the speed brake panel. So to represent this, what we're going to use here is the dead bubble twirl fan, pasted over that 3rd temporary block, and then the dead fire twirl fan pasted over the 4th, just like this. And that'll give you the red paint marker on the underside of the extended spoilers here. Now, in default, without the use of vertical slabs like this, I suppose you could use stairs facing backwards for the curvature of the spoilers here. But again, you know, it's a flat panel. It doesn't exactly you know, the underside surface here is completely flat. It doesn't stick out at all, and it does expose the gap in the wing where the speed brakes extend out, so it isn't the most realistic solution, which is why using vertical slabs is a much more preferable alternative if you can have the option to do so. But, yeah. Otherwise, that's about everything for the extended spoilers here. So we'll just be repeating the same process on the right side of the aircraft. So, in from the ailerons here, knocking out this row of wool slabs towards the center, that wool top slab below it, preserving that stair, and the wool top slab in towards the center from it. Next we've got a wool stair facing forwards on top of that upside down stair from the innermost flap track fairing right there, with 1 more out to each side, like this. 4 temporary blocks up to the side right now, filling up the rest of the excavated space there. Grab a dead brain coral fan, the wool vertical slab, paste 2 of those in on the center 2 right there, or innermost 2. A dead bubble coral fan for the red vertical slab, and a dead fire coral fan for the black wool vertical slab, like this. And with that, you have the ground spoilers extended. The aircraft is now decelerating on its landing roll, and that is everything for the Q400 tutorial. So, congratulations on completing the de Havilland Canada DHC-8 Q400. Thank you so much for choosing an Aeroteam design. We hope that you enjoyed building it, and we hope that you enjoy having it as a part of whatever project you are using this for. Do feel free to use this in any kind of publicly available project you like, given that you of course provide proper credit to the Aeroteam for these designs. You cannot use our builds without giving due credit for their design. So, if you have built this aircraft, let us know. We'd love to see how you're using our designs. Tag us on Twitter at AeroteamMC, or share it with us on our Discord server. If you enjoyed, please do consider subscribing to the Aeroteam channel to be the first to see our new aircraft when they come out. Anyways, that is just about it. So, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.